Naturally, when you get rid of people's jobs, they're going to take to the streets. When you are affecting people's lives, they're going to be upset. So we saw massive protests over the weekend, and I want to share with you some pictures of these protests, and they were all across the country. And I'm going to show you red states and blue states, because there were so many people that were out there, and in places that you might not really think about. Like these red states, there were sizable protests in red states. And I want to also highlight that because, this resistance, it's not just in bigger, bluer, liberal cities. It's all across the US. Because this isn't about red versus blue. This is about top versus bottom. This is about the working class versus the elite. The elite versus everyone else, basically. So we're going to be talking about tariffs, so we're going to be getting into the latest with all of that and the economic downturn that is happening to our American democracy. But I also just wanted to show this first over the weekend. So I appreciate every single one of you. Millions march against the Trump-Musk and nationwide hands-off protests. They're dismantling our country, they're looting our government, and they think we'll just watch. For those people who do not know, Elon Musk is literally going through and just gutting government agencies he doesn't like. He's trying to get rid of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which is literally one of the best agencies there is. You want to talk about efficiency? It takes like $1 billion to run the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, and yearly they get back like $13 billion because they go after fraudsters and scammers that are a part of bigger corporations that prey on consumers. So if you want to look at things efficiency-wise, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau is like the is like the most efficient aspect of the government, specifically for finances for consumers. But MAGA doesn't care about facts. They're trying to go through and gut the NNSA, the people who oversee our nuclear weapons, to make sure that they're maintained and we stay safe. Also the FAA, the IRS. These are agencies that do objectively good work. Sure, are there things that you can eliminate fraud, waste, and abuse wise? Yes, but not the agency. That's a whole thing. They're literally just trying to go through and just gut people's jobs. People's jobs are not people's livelihoods. If you are trying to deem someone else's livelihood to be able to put food on the table, to afford their medication, to afford their rent as efficiency, then I should say, okay, efficiency for who? Efficiency for whom? A rich person or that working class person? Girl, good God, girl, get a grip. So let's break down some of these protests that are happening all across the United States. There were millions of people, hundreds of thousands in different states all across the US. And there were also all across the world too. You had protests in the UK, you had them in Belgium, you had them in France, you had them in Australia. You had so many different protests all across the world. But I want to start out with here at home. Millions march against the Trump-Musk nationwide hands-off protests. Indivisible, one of the key organizing groups behind the day's protests, said millions participated in more than 1,300 individual rallies. That's a lot, as they deemed an end to Trump's authoritarian power grab and condemning all those aiding and abetting it. They said, quote, "We expected hundreds of thousands, but virtually at every single event, the crowds eclipsed our estimates." Here's the thing. If the shoe was on the other foot and it was Democrats that were going through and gutting the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, going through and trying to gut the Department of Education, which literally goes through and uses taxpayer money to fund and give grants and financial assistance to the lowest income, the most marginalized school districts across the US, which definitely benefits mostly even red states. So the Department of Education doesn't oversee curriculum. Of course, that's why a lot of people, like these MAGA people, are like, oh yeah, down with the DOE. They don't oversee the curriculum. Anyway, but they were saying hands off our healthcare, hands off our civil rights, hands off our schools, hands off our freedoms, and our democracy. This is the largest day of protest since Trump retook office, the group added, and in many small towns and cities, activists are reporting the biggest protests their communities have ever seen, as everyday people send a clear and unmistakable message to Trump and Musk. The United States has a president, not a king. Donald Trump has, by every measure, been working to make himself a king. He's become unanswerable to the courts, Congress, and the American people. Let me just show you how many people were standing up. Of course, you're going to have big blue cities like, oh, there's a wasp trying to get into my car. Oh, yeah, no, ma'am. No, ma'am. Don't be coming after me. Of course, you have New York City. There were, so many different thousands of protesters that were there. So that's not shocking. Here's another. Wait, hold on. Is that the same? That's the same picture. But you also have places like Richmond, Virginia. Now, the quality of these photos might not be the best because I was taking a picture while there was a video going, so forgive me if the quality isn't the best. Also, if you're enjoying the live stream, please make sure to send some likes, share the live with a friend, and if this is your first time here, say hello and where you're tuning in from. I like to get to know new people, and I am supported and crowdfunded by individual people like you to do this kind of work. I am trying to build up my own media company, and it is not easy, honey. It is not easy. Also, it's a bad hair day, so yes, I'm wearing a hat, and yes, it does say who elected Elon Musk, because why is he running our government? Why is his boyfriend Donald Trump, what is going on there? What is going on? Hey, I'm gay, I can say that. I'm funny. Anyway, but you can see all across the United States, even in places that are kind of unassuming. Of course, you have bigger cities like Atlanta as well. That's not shocking. You have millions who turned out 1,300 hands-off peaceful protests in the largest day of action this year. Boston, New York, Chicago, Portland, San Francisco, San Diego, Idaho, Utah, Oakland. I mean, you can see the millions of people that are here. Like, that's a lot. No, ma'am, I know. I think I'm funny. Also, you have places like Denver, Colorado. Of course, that's a bluer city. But let me get to places that are a little bit less assuming. Montana. This is in Bozeman, Montana. I know there was also one in Missoula, Montana, I believe. Which is really, really cool to see these red states also have these protests. Because when you're thinking about this kind of resistance, this defiance against the corruption of our hostile government takeover led by Donald Trump and Elon Musk, it's not a red versus blue issue. It's a top versus the rest of us issue. It is the 1% versus the working class and middle class. That's really what this comes down to. Look, I will say there are probably going to be mostly all these people are Democrats. But here's the thing, if there are Republicans that want to join in these protests, then sure, we're going to welcome you with open arms. We might give you a little bit of tough love and be like, you voted Republican, like, dude, you did kind of ask for some of this. But we're also going to be like, you know what, but you've woken up now, you are starting to realize the error of that. So we are going to, we're going to see that. We will acknowledge that. Also, this is Chicago, so that makes a lot more sense. I mean, there's a lot of people there. This is my home turf of Raleigh, NC. I mean, Raleigh, NC had a huge population of people that were there. And I knew many people who were there personally. And this is another view. Again, if the pictures aren't the best quality, I apologize. I was taking screenshots from videos. I can't play a video over TikTok Live. So, or I don't know how to do that. I'm still learning. But these are 3 different views of just my hometown's protest. And this is in Charlotte. Protesters started off with a rally in Mecklenburg County. Also, West Palm Beach, Florida. You can see all the people that are here. West Palm Beach, that's Donald Trump's backyard. That's his backyard. And there's people that are there. Florida, a red state. You have Miami, Florida as well. But let me also just go to Tallahassee. Now, again, looking at this picture might be misleading. There were people that were also over here. This was a panoramic. This was the person filming the video went this way, and I wanted to show that I think this is some part of the state capitol. There were more people that were over this way and that way. So, I mean, there were a lot more people. Orlando, of course. These are just some screenshots from these videos. Alabama. I love seeing this. I think it's important to protest everywhere and show your defiance and resistance everywhere, even if you are in a super, super, super red state. And I think that really speaks volumes. And I love seeing people in more rural communities also standing up and fighting. That's really, really cool. And I was surprised that there's a skyscraper in Alabama. Sorry to all my friends who are from Alabama. I took this picture and I'm like, wait, hold on. Is that a mountain or is that a skyscraper? Wow. There were probably skyscrapers in Alabama. I'm just trying to be cheeky and funny. People probably say that about North Carolina. There are many skyscrapers in North Carolina. Just saying. Anyway, also this guy's kind of cute. Okay, if you're watching me on this live stream, then say hello. Yes, I'm very gay. If you can't handle that, then maybe you're the snowflake. Let's see. This is in Jackson, Mississippi. This is, again, another very deep red state. I think it's really, really cool to see defiance and resistance that's there. Also, please make sure to send some likes. I love all of you. If you are new and you're new to these live streams, please say hello and where you're tuning in from. I like to get to know people. Y'all are all awesome. But there were these protests that are happening all across the United States, and even 300 people showing up in Jackson, Mississippi. That's really, really cool because this is a deep red state. There was Columbus, Ohio, which is really, really cool. This is not surprising. It's a bigger municipality. And also you can see New York City, DC, Philly. I mean, so many people came out to protest Elon Musk and Donald Trump. And it wasn't just in these like red states, or it wasn't just in these like blue cities. In blue states. They were in red states. They were in Jackson, Mississippi. They were in Alabama. They were in Louisiana. Did I show my Louisiana one? Hold on. Pretty sure that I had a Louisiana one. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. Yeah, this one's in Louisiana. I mean, they weren't just in blue cities or blue states. You had resistance everywhere. 1,300 protests. That's monumental. That is monumental.